Hello, in this video we're going to talk about how to do a free background check in Virginia. To get started, visit virginiapublicrecords.org. I'll have a link in the description. You can click on that or just type it into your browser. On the home page, you will notice there is a very large database of public record resources in the state of Virginia. And I'll show you how you can use some of these to do a quick background check. I'm also going to talk about how to do a criminal record search free of charge as well. But just wanted to clarify, this video is going to be about like general background check that everyday people can use for everyday things. It's not necessarily going to be a specific one for a particular situation, because there's so many reasons why somebody might want to do a background check. You could be maybe checking on your neighbors, your business partner, maybe the new nanny, new date, whatever it may be. So it's just very general things using official public record databases in the state of Virginia, and I'm going to particularly focus on the ones that you can use for free. So let's get started. Let's say this could be an example. Let's say you want to do a big project in your house, like a big remodeling project, and you're looking at hiring a contractor. There's a lot of money on the line. What can you do, for instance? Like you could come to the license lookup page and type his business name or his name or their name into the search box here, and you can look up the license. Make sure everything is legit. Make sure, for instance, everything is paid for. When did they initially, let's say, get the certificate? How long have they been in business? Things like that. You can verify these things. A lot of times there's also a business. It's not just the license that you can look up, but you can actually look up a business. Somebody has to register like an LLC or a corporation. You can make sure everything is paid for, everything is legit. How long have they had it for? Make sure there's no issues with the state, no interruptions, things like that. So another thing that you could do is you could use court records. And specifically, if it comes to like a business dealing like this, maybe you want to look into civil records, make sure there's no lawsuits involving the business, maybe a vendor, maybe a customer that wasn't happy. Make sure that there's nothing like that in the court system. So it just gives you a peace of mind, and you're more educated, more informed regarding the business, regarding the individual, before you go spend like a large amount of money with them. So that's one way of using it. And then, of course, you have your criminal records. And typically when it comes to background checks, criminal records, that's probably like the backbone of a background check. It doesn't matter what the background check is for. I think the criminal report is right up there pretty much every single time. So let's see how we can do a criminal check free of charge in the state of Virginia. So hover over other records. Let's select inmate search. Now, a criminal record begins typically with an arrest. So like a police officer or somebody from the sheriff's department arrests an individual. They get charged with a crime. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're guilty yet of it, but they get charged. Typically, they will get arrested and they will get taken to a jail, and then they will get booked. They will get fingerprinted. Their picture will get taken. They'll identify the person, things like that. And sometimes they will be released. Sometimes they will post bail, and sometimes they will be kept in jail. But they will have to go see a judge. So some of these initial records, these initial arrest records, could be looked at. Now in Virginia, it's not. I didn't notice too many county sheriff's departments doing this, but there are a few that will do it. And I just want to show you an example of someone that does. As you can see, you have a mugshot, you have booking information, and then you have the charges. So this isn't always necessary, but it is a free database. If a local sheriff's department or the county provides it, it is a free database that you can use to research the initial part of a criminal record. Now, this, again, like I said, doesn't mean that they're guilty yet. They still have to go see a judge, but these databases can be used for free. And if the sheriff's department doesn't provide one, you can also request this information, like through a public, like a freedom of information request. So you have an option for that. So that's a first set. And then, of course, you have your court information. So hover over other records, select court records. And so when somebody sees a judge, and in criminal situations, they always will, when somebody sees a judge, a court document is created. Court documents are considered public information, so you're able to look at this information as being the public. Now, in some cases, if it's a sensitive situation, if it's an ongoing case, they won't necessarily release this information, but generally speaking, in most situations, you can access this information. So the court system goes like this. You have your Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, Circuit Court, General District. The Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court, you don't have to worry about those. They pretty much decide cases that they can't settle in the lower in the lower courts. But for instance, if we're talking about criminal background checks, Circuit Court will do felonies, which are like higher level crimes. And then, of course, you have the General District, and they will deal with like lower level crimes. And these are going to be two different databases. Each of the courts has their own database. So, for example, I'm looking at the Circuit Court here. And even within this database, you have to select, you have to actually go court by court. So, depending on where maybe the arrest took place, maybe where the individual lives, where they work, you want to look at those areas, and then possibly the counties around that county. So if you really want to cover your bases. So it is a lot of databases to go through, but if you can at least narrow it down to give yourself a good shot at finding something, just, where they work, where they live, and then the counties around that. So I just selected a county here, and I'm going to just type in a random name here. And as you can see, I didn't have to put in a credit card. I didn't make any payments, none of that. This is all free. You have your defendant here. You have some information that identifies them. You have the charge. You got the hearings here, and then, of course, the final disposition. And looks like it's going to be a 4-year sentence here. So it's quite a bit of information, and again, it's free of charge. So very detailed information. It is, I guess, somewhat difficult to bounce around from county to county, but it's free, and that's what the video is about. So you have the same thing here, General District. Okay, it looks like they're making me jump through some hoops here real quick. And it's very similar. You got to select the area, and then you want to search by name or by case. And again, I'm just going to try something general. And as you can see, it's free of charge. You want to fill out everything. If you got a middle initial, use that too. It will really cut down on the amount of people that will pop up. And just select anything here. And as you can see, you get a pretty complete record here. Charge information, defendant information, case information, disposition information. Everything is here. And again, it's free of charge. So once you have, once the court is finalized, there's going to be a guilty or no guilty verdict. Sometimes they'll pay a fine. Sometimes they'll have to do some time. And so in that situation, if the sentence is over a year, you can also research them at the Department of Corrections system. And Virginia provides that database, Virginia Department of Corrections. So this is for more severe crimes. If they're serving over a year, they're typically going to spend it here. If it's under a year, if it's just for like a few months, they're going to just go back to like a local jail. And you can research this information as well. I'm just going to try something. Okay, here we go. Now, this just gives you the prison inmates that are within the system. There's not much information. It at least kind of identifies the person, and then it just lets you know where they're at. And again, this information is also, this database I also use absolutely free. One more thing to consider is also checking the sex offender registry. When it comes to like criminal searches, you also want to check this database. This is a statewide system, so it's a whole lot simpler to use. You could use search by address, or if you got a name, you can just search by name. So this is, again, a free database that you can use, and it just helps you cover more ground when it comes to a criminal check. So that's it for the free background check information. Again, you have your many databases that you can use to look up all sorts of things. You can look up criminal records. Also, using court records, you can also look up financial information as well. I just went into the criminal record aspect of it because it's the most sought after record, but there's so many things you can do with these public databases. And with that said, I also wanted to mention one more thing. This is a paid tool, just want to let you know. But what it does is it pulls records from multiple databases. So public records, court records, you have real estate information, financial information like bankruptcies, things like that, maybe financial lawsuits, arrests, criminal information. There's some public or private databases like cell phone information, previous addresses. So it doesn't just look in the state of Virginia, it goes outside the state. It gives you more of like a nationwide look into someone's historic past. And what's great is it's a single search system. So all this information is put into a single system. It's pretty much instantaneous. Just type in a name and you'll figure out pretty quickly if they have enough information for you to even consider using it. So check it out. One of the reasons why it's, especially nowadays, it's nice to have a tool like this is, let's say somebody's living in Virginia, but they have a criminal past, say, or it could be anything, maybe some financial information that you might need, that they might have this record, say in Texas or Wisconsin, and now they're living in Virginia. If you're just looking at the county level, at the state level in Virginia, you're not necessarily going to see what happened in those other states. So you can use certain tools to help keep you more informed and kind of like give you an opportunity to cover more bases when you're doing your research. So with that said, visit virginiapublicrecords.org and get started on your free background check in Virginia. Thank you.